Welcome to the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. We are live right now. Today we are going to be doing a live Ask Me Anything Q&A on Steemit and also from the YouTube chat. We're trying out a new program today, and we have joining us on the line to break down this Patrick Brown sex scandal. We got the one and only Leigh Stewy joining us right here. So you guys gonna have to bear with me. Leigh Stewy, first of all, how are you?
I'm doing well, Dan. How are you?
I'm very good. You're gonna have to bear with me here. This is a brand new program I literally just installed like no more than an hour ago, but it seems to be working right now. We seem to be in action. We're gonna be taking questions from the chat today. And what we're going to be talking about, Leigh, is the scandal that just broke. I think it was late last night. You sent me a DM on Twitter saying they're calling an emergency press conference at Parliament here because of some sex scandal with Patrick Brown, the Conservative. Can you maybe just fill people in? I'm going to post this link around on Steemit. I'm going to share it on Facebook. Hopefully everybody at home can do the same. Let everybody know we're live right now and you can get your questions in. And while I'm posting this around, maybe you can just fill people in on what went down last night.
Well, I was actually out last night, and by the time I got home, I saw that there was breaking news. A few Canadian media outlets were talking, saying that they had been called to Queen's Park in an emergency meeting or press conference, because two women had came forward, and in just 5 months before the provincial election, accusations came about towards Patrick Brown, who is the leader of the Conservative Party for the province of Ontario. And so, yeah, like late last night around 10 o'clock, I think it was, allegations came forward from these two women saying that they were sexually assaulted by Mr. Brown back in, one of them was in high school and the other one was in university. So, and it's all coming at a very interesting time, considering what Justin Trudeau was saying in Davos, Switzerland, just yesterday, kind of virtue signaling to the Me Too, whatever that movement is. He
literally referenced Me Too in his speech, the same day that this scandal broke, basically.
Yeah. It's very, very interesting timing. And considering Kathleen Wynne has the all-time low ratings of ever in her, provincial election time, it's at an all-time low. So yeah. I find it very interesting, the timing on this whole thing.
Quite convenient for I mean, yeah, what do you think this is going to do to help her odds there? And just a heads up, everyone, the feed seems to be breaking up a little bit. So if it continues to get choppy like this, we may have to end the broadcast. So I apologize if it's a little bit choppy right now. But yeah, Leigh, what do you think their chances are? Her chances are now. It seems like it's going to be a heck of a lot better.
Well, yeah, and it's funny because they're actually going to be announcing the interim caucus tomorrow. That's very quick, in my opinion, of who is going to be taking this guy's place. By this guy, I mean Patrick Brown.
Right.
And the other contestant is Brian Mulroney's daughter, and Andrea Horwath, who we saw run in previous elections. So, and they're both women, right? Mm-hmm. So, and Trudeau also touched on boasting women in, Parliament and in jobs in general, and giving the feminist women power, kind of, so to speak.
Were you saying Brian Mulroney's daughter is going to run for Prime Minister?
Well, no, for, in her provincial election, like she's going to be stepping up potentially, right? And for the Conservatives taking over this guy's position, Patrick Brown.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God. Well, if it's any indication, if we follow how things go on in the States, how they went from like a Bush to a Clinton to a Bush to a Clinton. We've seen a Mulroney around here before. I wouldn't be surprised if she works her way on up in there. Now, again, I want to just reiterate, in case we were cutting up when I try to say so, but the feed seems to drop every now and then, folks. So if it seems a little bit choppy, we may have to unfortunately cut the broadcast because the camera feeds seem to be cutting in and out. So hopefully it doesn't get too choppy. But let me see if we can get to any of the questions so far in the YouTube. Obviously, we're going to be taking super chat questions, top priority. We're also going to be taking questions at Steemit. You can follow me there at steemit.com/@pressfortruth, and you can follow Leigh at steemit.com/@Leigh_Stewy. And so, No Fix is asking on the YouTube chat, was there a police report filed? As far as I can tell, there was, but do you have any information, Leigh, about whether or not a police report was filed? As you said, this dates back to, we're talking like a couple decades ago, isn't it, that this happened?
Yeah, they're not even showing the women's faces who have come forward and presented these allegations. I haven't heard anything about a police report as far as what I could find about anything. All I know is that one of the women was, at the time in high school, she was volunteering in, I think, a political campaign when Patrick Brown was an MP in Barrie, Ontario. That was quite a while ago. And she seems to be, older now. The other girl or woman was at the time in university. So, I mean, the details about these women are very, very vague, and they're not releasing anything, not their identity, not their age or anything like that. So it's very, 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 very vague.
And it seems very strange to me that this guy is essentially resigning and completely stepping down, although he denies these claims outright. He says it didn't happen, so why resign, right? If nothing happened. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yesterday before the press conference even occurred, his whole party actually collapsed right before his very eyes. They, everyone who was on his campaign basically dropped out. They were dropping like flies on Twitter last night, releasing statements one by one, and he was the only one left standing. And then the press conference was a very quick 1 to 2 minute press conference, and left him kind of scurrying away at the very end, where press was actually chasing after him. He wasn't taking any questions.
I didn't get a
just
chance
basically
to
denying the allegations.
So it kind of, what was his demeanor at the press conference? Did you see it, first of all?
Yeah, I did see it. He was pretty upset about the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And we've seen kind of lately in the mainstream media how the Liberal parties have been acting. We've seen Justin Trudeau after scandal and being ignored, and the pay-to-play scandal with the Clinton Foundation, and also things regarding the Trudeau Foundation itself. And even now, Kathleen Wynne, she, like I was saying, she has the lowest approval rating at 12% right now. And what a perfect time for, these allegations to come forward. It just seems very, very suspect to me.
Yeah, it is perfect timing for her, because Ontarians and Canadians alike have been railing against Kathleen Wynne. I mean, people just really don't like her, and for good reason. I mean, she has done some things, in particular, like to the curriculum, to the school board, and for so-called gender rights, that are completely trumping other Canadians' rights. I mean, you're familiar with, you're living under her tyrannical rule. What are some of the insane things that Kathleen Wynne has done, and provides good reason why we do not want her in again?
Well, that's easy for me. That's Bill 89 has passed, which, you've done a video on. I've also done a video on that, where, if you don't align your beliefs with your child's gender, which could be a washing machine, if you don't align your beliefs with their gender, then, the government can step in and come and take your kids away. And it can also prevent you from adopting, which is, it kind of goes against the Christianity belief where, it's two genders, that's not even just Christianity, but, it is science. Yeah. But that Bill 89 and then Bill C-16, that passed also this year. And that was, misgendering somebody. Calling someone by the wrong pronoun could land you in jail, or, sued by a potential person who doesn't want to identify as one of two genders.
Yeah. Yeah, she's obviously been a champion of that one, trying to, push for that. And obviously the gay rights issue, maybe viewers at home don't know, she is a lesbian, the Premier of Ontario. So obviously, she has a big following from the LGBT community, and maybe that's why she pushes the gender rights and the transgender rights and this pronoun issue so much. It's like she's riding on their ticket, for the next election. And Trudeau does the same thing. I mean, that's why I see the two of them seem to be working pretty closely in tandem, even behind the scenes. I mean, they're quite the pair.
Yeah, I'd have to definitely agree there. They're not very far between. They're very similar. They're always seen together. They support each other 100%. And it's funny, too, because, after these allegations came out and after Patrick Brown, he actually did announce his resignation today. Mm-hmm. Kathleen Wynne was, minutes after that, holding a press conference herself saying, we need to back up women and, we need to stop seeing this Me Too movement and, support women no matter what kind of thing, and denouncing the assault allegations against Patrick Brown. So
yeah, she didn't take long at all to grandstand on that one, jump all over it and be like, this is something we cannot stand for in this country. It's like, lady, the guy has not been charged with anything here. This is still an ongoing investigation, and she's grandstanding saying enough is enough, and people are going to cheer her for this. And you know what, it could almost be argued that he's done. I mean, the damage is already done in the minds of the people. Sometimes that's all these guys have to do to discredit somebody, is to just put it out there. This allegations of pedophilia or allegations of sexual abuse or whatever. These things might not even turn out to be true, but the damage is already done in the minds of the masses there. So we definitely have to be careful of that. Okay, let's check out some of the chat. I'm going to we've had another little crash there, so hopefully we're back live, but I'm going to go straight to the chat. Let's see if we got any more questions coming in from YouTube. I see one here from Ian C. Why does even alt media seemingly have an issue paraphrasing these as allegations instead of subjects such as scandals? Due process should be the #1 topic of discussion in situations like this. That's a good point, Ian C. Thanks for bringing that up. And that's I think the point we were trying to make as well, is that this is not necessarily a scandal on his part. We don't know. We don't know what this guy's been involved with, if anything. The scandal could really be that these girls are completely making this up, or this could very well be true. The point is, we don't know right now, but policy is going to be set. People are going to be voting in a particular way because of this. But I hear what you're saying. We have to remain unbiased and partial. What was his relationship to these two girls? Asks Pretzel. Are you familiar at all with the background or what the relationship was? Was it simply just a couple high school friends?
Well, I know he was the MP in Barrie at the time, and the one woman was in high school at the time, volunteering in some sort of event she was hosting or volunteering with. I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, the details are very, very vague, and they're doing a good job at protecting these two women who have come forward. They've kind of given a testimony about, what they had gone through with him, and yeah, I don't really know, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Now, have you been following? I'm sure you have been. What's been going on in Hollywood? Obviously, it's not only coincidental that Justin Trudeau was given that speech in Davos. It's also interesting that this is being done on the heels of this Hollywood sex scandal, and then we have Oprah Winfrey giving a speech at the Golden Globes or whatever it was. All about believe woman, basically. Speak your truth. And, so it seems no coincidence to me either that it's coming out, after this Hollywood sex scandal. So, I mean, what do you think about what's going on in in the sex scandal world. We got stuff going on in Hollywood. We got stuff going on in Britain, and now potentially stuff going on in Canada. If this is real, you know, this is pretty amazing time we're in. If this is true, and that all these guys are being cracked down on, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'd have to say, you know, we've seen people lose their jobs over allegations. No, you know, original police reports have been made in a lot of the instances, and a lot of the time, you know, I hate to say it, we've been saying this for years, that, you know, there's been a child trafficking or child molestation problem in Hollywood for years. Mm-hmm. And that could be, you know, kind of played into this whole thing where, you know, also the casting couch in Hollywood has also been well known for years. And, you know, have been instances where, you know, women might be, you know, pushed towards doing a certain thing to get a certain role, and then regret it later, you know, and they could perhaps maybe regret what they did, and you know, kind of have a herd mentality like we see in the Me Too movement, which I think is you know, more of like a gang mentality almost, like, or, you know, women hear me roar, and, you know, once the momentum gets going, it's kind of like they feed off of each other almost, and it's almost like gang stalking, or like it's very bizarre. I mean, I don't think all of the allegations, I absolutely know that this kind of thing goes on in Hollywood, absolutely, but some of them might be you know, kind of taken out of context, or, you know, done for attention, or like I said before, regret. Yeah, I just there's people losing their jobs over allegations, which I think is absolutely dangerous. Mm-hmm. And anyone can just blow the whistle now and not be questioned for any allegation that they're making. It's just, you know, you have to believe the victim, or else you're a horrible person. Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of whistleblowers, you know, a name that comes to mind right now is Corey Feldman, because, you know, he was saying that he was going to produce this film and expose the, you know, pedophilia in Hollywood and everything, and then he ran a second campaign. What are your thoughts on that? I was kind of supportive of the guy in the beginning, and now it's kind of odd that he's dragging his feet so much, and he wants to make it such a huge Hollywood production. I mean, what are your views on Corey dragging his feet here, or do you think he is?
I 100% believe that Corey Feldman and Corey Haim were molested as kids. I 100% agree. I don't doubt that for a minute. Just looking at Corey Haim's life and what he went through in his adult life and how he couldn't recover, I think that speaks volumes of, you know, he even mentioned it to Corey Feldman. He was very vocal about it. But as for the movie and stuff that Feldman was going to make, you know, I think he kind of doubled down on a situation where he should have just come forward and you know, didn't really need $10 million or however much money it was that he was trying to raise to make a movie. And then he actually went on national television to, you know, kind of blow the whistle on these people. And I understand it's kind of like from a safety standpoint that he wants to be protected at all times. But, you know, he did have a failing music career. He was bankrupt. You know, his parents took all of his money when he was younger. So there are factors that go against that. But I mean, I don't doubt for a minute that, you know, there was a problem with those two guys, absolutely, in Hollywood. You know, they, like I said, Corey Haim was talking about it for years. So I just think he kind of doubled down on it and was taking advantage of the situation and the Me Too movement, because it all kind of came out at the same time, right? Yeah,
that's true. Exactly. Well, there does seem to be some people just jumping on the bandwagon and taking advantage, as you said. And I think, obviously, Kathleen Wynne has just done that, obviously taking advantage of this situation when the guy hasn't even been, it hasn't been proven that anything has happened yet. So back to that, I mean, you know, when is this election? I'm a little bit out of the loop as far as the provincial elections there in Ontario, but I know this is coming up pretty soon, right around the corner, right? Like, when, how much longer does she have to be able to rally the troops?
5 months. So, okay. And, you know, we've seen, we've seen lobbyists back the Justin Trudeau campaign, and it makes me curious, like, Trudeau meeting with Joshua Boyle behind closed doors, who was an affiliate of Omar Khadr and, was married to his sister at one point, and then, they get lost in Afghanistan, and then he's meeting with him behind closed doors. Did he pay him out money? And then, the Liberals' behavior is just very suspect and very questionable at this point. They have zero ground to walk on as far as I'm concerned. And, how much were these women paid off to come forward? Like, it's posing all these questions now because there's no transparency. Like, we have our prime minister meeting in secret with the Israeli, Netanyahu behind closed doors just yesterday, and the mainstream media didn't even know about it. They were told 2 hours after the meeting took place. So it's like, there's zero transparency going on, and we have every right to question our government because clearly they're doing things behind closed doors. And it would not surprise me if these two women were paid off by the Liberal government to come forward. I absolutely wouldn't. I wouldn't put it past them for a minute.
No, me neither. I wouldn't put it past them at all, and I would certainly hope that if that does come out to be the truth, that people would remember to look back and maybe apologize to this guy, Patrick Brown, for the reaction that people have had on him, because like we said, none of this has been proven at this point, and we need to ask these tough questions though for transparency, and that's something that, we're trying to do here today, and something that you did like not too long ago. I just briefly off topic want to reiterate and remind people that you just confronted Justin Trudeau about that, giving Omar Khadr $10 million and a whole host of issues. I just want to say once again, while I have you here on the line, that was awesome. So I wish I had the clip so I could show people again, but
I know.
Yeah.
I would do it again in a heartbeat, I'm telling you. And it probably won't be my last time. I've got lots of questions for him. The mainstream media is not keeping him on his toes. And when they do, he has to reorder his thoughts, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I heard he's going to be in Nanaimo soon. Like in a couple of weeks from now in Nanaimo, BC. His only town hall stop in British Columbia is in a couple of weeks. So I may just have to, well, I don't know if I should say this live on the air, but I may have to plan to make an appearance. But if I don't, hey, anybody else out there watching who happens to follow Press for Truth, if you live in the Nanaimo area, check it out. Justin Trudeau is going to be in the area very soon, and you could do something like what Leigh just did, confronting the guy face to face, asking tough questions. So speaking of questions, let me quickly, Leigh, just check one more time on the YouTube chat, and if we don't have too many more questions, we may wrap it up. I don't know that there's a whole heck of a lot more to say, other than the fact that this just, this obviously just broke last night. It's everyone's going to be talking about it over the next week, and I think we're going to get more information coming about who these women are, what exactly the charges are, and the allegations specifically, and then maybe we'll get another press conference coming from Patrick Brown.
I also find it interesting too that we saw allegations like this right before Trump was elected. The Clinton emails came out, and then their retaliation, I believe, was against Trump with the sex scandal allegations of him. That audio tape came out from him in the bus with Billy Bush or whatever. So it's very common. So there's things here that I think they're using. You're not allowed to question the victim. So I think they're using this Me Too movement and empowering women to. It wouldn't surprise me if a woman was elected as the Ontario Premier, because this guy Patrick Brown came out of nowhere and was not expected to win anything.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you never really know with these guys who are coming out of nowhere. I remember when I first heard of Andrew Scheer, he seemed a little bit, I was like, who the heck is this guy? Where did he come from? In fact, that was the situation with Stephen Harper. A lot of people don't know. Stephen Harper was pretty relatively unknown, actually, when he just popped onto the scene. And wouldn't you know it, he was invited to Bilderberg, and then a couple of years later, he becomes the Prime Minister of the country. So that seems to be a trend. Now, I don't know if everybody just caught everything I just said there about you know, the trend of these guys getting pre-selected and picked through places like Bilderberg, because we unfortunately are having a couple more crashes on this system. But with this new software, this new program, I like it. Let us know if you guys like this format of you know, having a co-host on and having myself and Leigh kind of talk about these sorts of issues. And I may have to beef up my equipment here and get a more powerful machine at this point so it can handle doing these multi-camera live broadcast videos. So Leigh, on that note, you know, the video's probably getting choppy for the viewers, and it seems to be crashing every now and then. That was the 4th or 5th crash, so maybe we should call it on this one. I'm going to refresh the Steemit page and just see if we have any last questions coming in from anyone on Steemit. Once again, guys, if you're not there yet, check out steemit.com and follow me there at steemit.com/@pressfortruth. And then, of course, you can follow Leigh at steemit.com/@LeighStewy. And this is where they pay you in cryptocurrencies to post. So it's been great for me. It's been great for Leigh. And it can be good for you, too. So, all right. I'm not seeing any more questions at all coming in from the Steemit. And not too much more coming in from the YouTube. Let me just check one last time. No, a lot of comments, Thank you for that, everybody. I see one question mark. Hang on. Jacqueline Robitaille asks, now Trudeau is suing the vagabond ISIS here. Does that pose any threat to Canadians? I'm not exactly sure what she's referring to there, but there is a threat to Canadians right now. You know, I made a video, gosh, it's probably a few years ago now, called Conditioning Canadians for the War on Terror. And that video outlines how we have been manipulated psychologically over the last, I would say, maybe decade or so, especially since the Toronto 18 incident here in Toronto in 2006. Ever since then, with so many foiled terror plots and setups by CSIS all along the way, Canadians have been conditioned to be, you know, prepared for an attack and to point the blame at the, you know, someone like ISIS as opposed to the government. And that's something we've been warning about for quite some time. Not sure if that exactly answers your question, but very important point to make nonetheless. So Leigh, any final thoughts on what we can maybe expect from this scandal, if it is a scandal at all? I imagine there's probably going to be another press conference or more information coming out in a few days. What do you expect?
Yeah, well, tomorrow they're actually announcing the interim replacement for Patrick Brown. So it'll be interesting who is appointed. Like I said, Brian Mulroney's daughter possibly, or Andrea Horwath. Horwath is also a contender, or, you know, Kathleen Wynne might just take it all.
yeah, no doubt. Guessing by the way things are going, I mean, it's probably going to be Wynne. I hope to God not, obviously, for the sake of you and the rest of Ontarians and Canadians in general, because she is just awful. But anyways, Leigh, I want to thank you so much for joining us today on such short notice. I probably called you half an hour before we went live, so thank you so much for doing this, and I look forward to doing it again. And be sure to follow Leigh on Steemit and myself. Links are going to be located in the description below. Other than that, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye.